I've seen people like grown men, even sometimes in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, mentally still an 18-year-old kid. Mentally like, am I still cool? I need the validation and this person and that, and where do I stand? And I want the partner that will impress everyone. And I'm like, are you a man or a kid? Right? Are you a grown-up or you're an adult or a kid? This year is shifting to being an adult. Right? So it's asking yourself, what do I want? Not that it'll impress my friends or impress people. What do I want? Clear on that, true to that, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be, once more, tons of money. You could be like, you know what? I don't want that much money. I just want to dedicate a ton of time towards art and craft. Awesome, do that. Hey, you know what? I just want a nice 9 to 5. Do that. In reality, too, there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. The only reason it has a bad rep is you get marketed that way. And a lot of people who do say 9 to 5s, it's not the 9 to 5s that they actually enjoy. Right? Like the whole marketing, by the way, escape the 9 to 5, no boss, that's not true. You escape the 9 to 5, you know what you're going to go right into? More than the 9 to 5.
That's so true.
And you think you'll never have a boss? That's not true. Who's my boss right now?
Us.
Yeah, you're my boss. What if I didn't show today? Right, I'd be fired. Right? You'd be like, okay, fire me. You'd fire me. So you're always going to have a job. You're always going to have a boss. But here's the plus side. Choose a job that you love. Like if you had to work a 9 to 5, what would be a 9 to 5 that didn't feel like a 9 to 5? And then choose a boss you like. Right? But it's not about escaping that, it's about shifting it. And when it comes to your purpose, nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. The only reason people, you hear everyone say your purpose is creative and artistic is because the only people who make videos about purpose are creative people. I have friends too. It's like, my purpose is accounting, and all they do is spend their day behind a computer crunching numbers. That's their purpose, and they love it, and they live for it. But they're not going to make a video about it because they're not the creative type. So that too, do you. Right? But that is really a big part of unplugging from the mainstream, unplugging from, because again, frames are everywhere. Like left and right, you'll see an ad, you'll see this, you'll get sucked into it and saying, this is what I want, this is what I value. You inject every single year the majority of your energy and time towards one thing. Spread yourself too thin, trying to do everything at once, you're screwed. And that changes, and that is where you have to be true with yourself. Like, there are years where I go full out on different business goals that I have. And you'll see, you know, just go ham on business, but then other areas of my life will take a hit. Then when that plays spin business-wise, I'll go back and focus on other areas like health or family or relationships and stuff like that. Right? Like for me, the past year or so, my main goal was really a lot of family. Right? People are like, what's your goal? It's like, well, it was actually a lot of family time. You know, I had a kid and stuff, like that's where my attention is. Well, what about the business? Like, yeah, it's not all about money. It's not about business. It's like, you know, sure, you could view that as like the metric, but no, my metric and everyone's metric should be their ideal life. And, you know, that should also be very clear in terms of what you want and what you're willing to sacrifice, and always filter it through that. Because what you'll see is the more successful you become too, you're going to have opportunities left and right. And I've seen people who say yes at everything, but then their life's just a wreck. Just a wreck. Like their health goes down the drain. They aren't happy. They're overworked. They bit off more than they can chew, and they can just rationalize, I'm just saying yes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not willing to do that. Like right now, if I were willing to take big hits in my personal life, my relationship life, my free time, or even my health, and my health did actually take a bit of a hit the past year, but say I want to take huge hits there, I would easily 3 to 5x, if not more, my income. Maybe even 10x my income, just by doing that. But the 10x income isn't worth sacrificing all that at this point based upon my ideal life, even though I could. So that there is also part of getting clear on who you are, what you value, what you want. It's like, hey, nope, I'm good with that. And just staying true. Same with your friends. Nope, I want this type of friend. Staying true with that. And for everyone, it'll be different. It'll also change. That ideal life, guess what? It's not the end goal. It's like you'll reach that and then you'll have another ideal life, another ideal life. The whole purpose of having goals is to enhance your experience of the right here, right now. But it is important to have those goals you're striving towards, and real goals. And then remember here too, what's productive for one person isn't necessarily productive for another. We think with self-help success, there's cookie cutter productivity. No, it depends on your goal. Get clear on that first. Right? And don't just follow what everyone else is doing, comparing yourself to everyone else. Sit down and ask yourself. Because that's what we always do. It's like asking others, am I doing it right? Teacher? Self-help seeker? Anyone? Am I doing it right? It's like, Did you ask yourself? I don't know. What do you want? Right? And even when it comes to this here, right, I'm like, get a ton of references. Yeah, go all out. But it could also be in your win that you want to be good socially, but you're okay with just 30%. And I had massive respect for that too. You don't have to go all ham and go 100%. As long as it's authentic, you're like, nope, I want 30%, and in terms of my ideal life, that's good enough. And then I'm going to focus my energy towards business or other hobbies and passions, great. But be clear on it and then stick to it. Right? And this will also help where if you think of dabbling, what tends to happen, because this is the most common form of failure, especially in self-help, is people dabble. They do this, they do that, they do this, they do that. And if you're someone who's always looking externally too, because, you know, people in the self-help world, especially teachers, including myself, we have really strong personalities because we've put in the work. We tend to be, for the most part, very grounded. We know what we want, et cetera, et cetera. If you're someone who's always pinging externally, you'll get sucked into that frame. Like right now, and this is just a fact, and I'd be the same as listening to a speech, you're all sucked into my frame. But here's what happens. Right now, you might be like, yeah, let's do that. And then you go to another seminar, and people get sucked in someone else's frame. Actually, I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to do that. Actually, I'm going to do this. And they just bounce around, never doing anything, because they're going left to right, getting sucked into people's frames. Instead, it's get sucked into your frame. What do you want? Okay, this is my ideal life. Great. And then, yeah, go attend other seminars that are aligned with you moving towards your win, right? So that's what I would say. Same here. It's like, I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't want. You figure that out. But get clear on your authentic win and then filter everything through that. That's your compass. But then it's scary because then responsibility is on you, right? But I would do that too. The same with friends, right? And then it's also like really that principle of authenticity and like knowing who you are, valuing who you are, like integrity even. It's like being willing to stick to that, where it's like, you know, some of my friends who might be like, say, not that successful or nerdy, if I, you know, someone who I work with or something, they're like, oh, you hang out with that person? I'm like, yep, and just owning it. Versus, oh no, yeah, well, you know, it's like, yep, that's just who I hang out with. That's what I want. Grounded. Oh yeah, business-wise, that's my goal, that's what I want. Oh, but you said no to that thing. Yep, that's what I want. Just own, own, own. Get clear and own. A lot of self-help will say, you know, only be friends with people who are successful and hustling and da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's, you are the 5 people, only that. And yes, right, it's like, to some extent, you should have that clear vision of where you're moving towards in life, right? Your ideal life, what you care about. And within that context, there are going to be people who are aligned with it. And if it is one where you're moving towards success, then for you to have a lot of common ground with them, they will also have to be somewhat successful themselves. Yes. But on the flip side, when meeting people, talking to people, when it comes to socializing or even friendships, there's more to a person than self-help and success. Take those glasses off and see the person for who they are. I personally hang out with people who are extremely successful, people who hustle a lot. I also hang out with people, and they're really good friends, who are not successful at all. I have really good friends who hate spirituality, want nothing to do with it. I have really good friends who smoke and drink and do drugs and just play video games, right? I have the whole scale, and I like surrounding myself with that. However, right, it's like, you know, depending on that vision, that ideal life, it will determine how much time I spend with each, right? So, sure, right, if I'm the person who's like, oh, just video games and drinks and stuff, like, I'll spend a little bit of time, but not that much time. But I do like the time that I spend with them just for the person that they are. So that'll determine how much time I spend. And then the relationship and context will determine how I'll spend that time. So I have a friend, for example, I talked about in many videos from Switzerland who used to do a lot of music with me, right? Been friends since the age of 12. Closest friend during my entire time growing up. And we'll still talk and hang out and chat, but he, for example, isn't into self-help or anything. So I'm not going to hang out with him in a context where we talk about self-help. We'll talk about music and bond over that, and I love it, right? I have friends who are also very nerdy, and we'll talk about movies and stuff, and I love that too. Now, is that going to be the majority of my week and month? No, because that's not my ideal life where I'm moving towards. But I do like having that in my surroundings, and that there comes down to really you, where it's like, never let self-help or someone else tell you who you should or shouldn't hang out with. Have that clear vision for yourself of like, what's my ideal life look like? My ideal life does not look like hanging out with people who only hustle all the time or are successful. That for me just doesn't sound appealing. I want some of that, but it's just like, yeah, like I like hanging out with nerds. I like talking about nerdy stuff. I like hanging out with people who aren't talking about success or self-help all the time too. It's like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh, thank God, right? So I like that too. So that's part of my ideal life. That's why I incorporate that to a certain extent. For you, it's asking yourself, what do I want? Where am I moving towards? What does that look like? And then live your life now in alignment with that. You know, some people go the opposite. We're like, nope, I only want successful people. And I have massive respect for that too. It's, what do you want? Don't ask someone else. Figure out what do you want and then stay true to that.